The first time I heard it, I thought it was just a kid being a kid. Then I heard the exact same description from a child in a different town, in a different house, who'd never met the first one. They all said the same thing. There's a man in the corner. Not a shadow, not a coat on a chair, a man, standing perfectly still, watching. So here's the question. How do different kids in different homes describe the same thing, the same way? And if you've ever had that feeling, like a room is occupied even when it's empty, stay with me. Because by the end of this, you'll understand the pattern and why some parents quietly change the way they put their children to bed. Promise plus rules of the story. This is a story about a recurring type. A figure that shows up in childhood accounts like a stain you can't scrub out. Tonight, we're going to walk through the night it starts. The turning point when adults realize it isn't imagination. The worst moment, when the corner stops being a corner, and what it costs the families afterwards. And I need to give you one rule before we go any further. If you're watching this in bed, don't look into the corners of your room while I'm talking. Because the children in these stories all make the same mistake. They look. And once they look properly, they start describing details they shouldn't be able to see. Setup, place, people, and the first whisper. The first family lived in a normal, semi-detached house, quiet street, neighbors who waved, nothing dramatic. Their daughter, 6 years old, started waking up at the same time every night. Not crying, not screaming, just awake. She'd sit up, very straight, and stare past her toys toward the far corner of her bedroom. The corner where the wardrobe met the wall. At first, the parents did what parents always do. They blamed nightmares. They blamed cartoons. They blamed the dark. Then one night her mum asked softly, "What are you looking at?" And the girl didn't turn her head. She just said, like she was reading a label, "The man in the corner." Her mum laughed. "Because you have to, don't you? Because the alternative is admitting your child is seeing something you can't." But the girl added one detail that made the laugh die in her throat. "He doesn't like it when you talk." A week later, across the country, another family heard the same phrase. Different house, different kid, same corner. A little boy, 5, refused to sleep unless the door was fully open. Not cracked, not half, fully open. When his dad asked why, the boy whispered, "So he can leave." And when the dad asked, "Who?" the boy answered without hesitation, "The man in the corner." At this point, you might be thinking what every adult thinks. Kids share stories. Kids copy each other. Kids pick up phrases. But here's where it turns. Because the descriptions weren't vague. They were specific. Each child described the same posture. Not looming, not pacing, just standing. And each child described the same behavior. He never moved when adults were watching. He only changed when the child was alone. One mother decided to test it. She sat in her daughter's room at bedtime, pretending to scroll on her phone, pretending not to care. "Is he there now?" she asked. The girl nodded. "What's he doing?" And the girl said very quietly, "He's waiting for you to go." That sentence does something to a room. It makes the air feel owned. So the mother did something she still feels guilty about. She left. She stood outside the door, listening. And inside, her daughter started talking. Not in a playful way, in the slow, careful voice kids use when they're trying not to upset someone bigger than them. Then the mother heard her daughter say, "No." A pause. Then, "No, I won't." And then, the bed creaked. like someone had sat down on it. The mother pushed the door open so fast it hit the wall, and her daughter was alone, sitting bolt upright, staring at the corner. But the girl wasn't looking at the corner anymore. She was looking slightly above it, like the man had gotten taller. And that's when the daughter said something that made her mother's skin go cold. "He's smiling now." The mother asked, "Why is he smiling?" And the girl replied, "Because you finally looked." The peak moment, the worst part. Here's what we know so far. Different homes, different kids, same phrase, same corner, same rules. Now, we get to the worst part. The part parents don't like to say out loud, because once you say it, you've given it shape. In the third story, there was a toddler who couldn't fully speak yet, 2 years old, mostly single words. But every night the toddler would point to the corner of the living room and say, clear as anything, "Man, not daddy, not granddad, just man." The parents did the usual routine. Lights on, reassurance. Checking behind curtains like that helps. Then one night, the mum decided to film. Not for content, not for proof. Just because she wanted to know if she was losing her mind. She set her phone on a shelf facing the corner. Wide shot, nothing fancy. And she sat on the sofa with her toddler, whispering, "Where is he?" The toddler pointed, right at the corner. The mum looked at the screen. Nothing. Then the toddler did something toddlers don't do when they're pretending. He leaned into his mother's chest and tried to make himself smaller, and he whispered a word he'd never said before. Bad. The mum, trying to stay calm, asked, "What does he want?" The toddler stared for a long time. Then he said, "Don't tell." And then, the toddler's eyes tracked upward, from the corner to the ceiling. And then the toddler pointed at the empty air beside her head. Not the corner anymore, beside her. Soft question before we go on. If you were the parent, would you keep filming? Because she kept filming. And in the audio, very faint, there was a sound that didn't belong to the house. Not a voice, not a word. A slow exhale, right next to the microphone. Verdict plus what still doesn't feel right. So what is the man in the corner? Children are pattern finders. Corners are dark. But that explanation doesn't cover the shared phrasing, or the rule that he doesn't like it when you talk. And it definitely doesn't cover the way the stories evolve. Because in almost every account, the corner is only the beginning. First he's over there, then he's higher, then he's closer. And the moment an adult truly acknowledges him, really looks, that's when the fear changes. To, I'm scared of something that knows I can see it. Remember the hook. Same description. The pattern is the warning. And the warning is simple. Some corners aren't empty. They're patient. One question for you. What did you call it when you were a kid? If you want more late-night stories like this, calm, slow, and unsettling, subscribe.